In today's video, we're going to discuss how to talk about leaving a job because of burnout in a job interview. We're going to talk about why it's a concern for employers, what you can do to address it, and how to successfully navigate this conversation. Let's go. In 2021, the most common reason people left jobs was because of burnout. According to a survey conducted by Inc.com, 40% of the people who left a job in 2021 did so because of burnout. So it is actually an incredibly common thing that people are going to have to discuss in the upcoming years. So while many of you have experienced this and you have gone through it, you are absolutely going to have to address it in upcoming job interviews. And today's video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do this. Now, first things first, when you address this on LinkedIn, and more importantly, your resume, you're probably wondering, what should I do? Should I leave a gap here, or should I put something in there as a placeholder to kind of talk about why there's a gap, in my resume? And the answer is you should actually put a placeholder in there. ATSs, or applicant tracking systems, are actually designed to read through your resume and kind of give you a score based on your fit for the role. And one of the things that many ATSs are actually designed to do is find gaps in employment on a resume, and that can actually adversely impact you as a candidate. So what you want to write is leave of absence, and then in there, the times that you took that leave of absence. So that could be from the day you left your last job to current, whatever that is. Just make sure it's accounted for, because leaving a big blank in your resume can actually make it harder for you to get the interview to begin with. Now, my first tip, as always, is be ready. Be ready to discuss this. One of the hardest things that you can do for any sort of interview is not be ready for something that they're gonna bring up, right? If it catches you off guard, if you're not prepared, if you haven't spent time practicing talking through your reasoning for leaving, it is going to be harder to execute that in a flawless way. So you wanna make sure that you're taking the time to rehearse it, practice it, be comfortable with the way you explain it, and that when it comes up in an interview, you are ready. If you are ready and you have practiced it and it's not going to catch you by surprise, you're going to be a lot smoother in actually talking about it. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to have a powerful story as to why you did it. If you're in an interview and they go, "Hey Ben, you left your last company without another job. It's been 6 months. Can you explain this?" And you go, "Oh, I don't know. It just felt like a lot, so I left." That is not compelling. You want to make sure that you actually have a compelling story as to why you did this. So for burnout in particular, right? It's important to state the why. Have compelling reasons as to why it was necessary, but you want to do this without sounding overly negative or emotional. This can be hard, but it is critical for you to come off as a well-reasoned person who made a logical decision that it was best for you to step away. Now, it's not uncommon for people to do this. So there's actually a lot of very understandable reasons. So you could say that, maybe it was during the pandemic, right? Or it could be outside of that. Some of these same reasons apply, but maybe you could say that several people in your department were laid off. And because of that, they gave more work, and a job that had typically been 40, 45, 50 hours was now 60, 65, 70 hours. And all of a sudden there was less people to do the same amount of work, and that extra stress was placed upon you. And that you tried to deal with it, but after a certain amount of time, it became untenable. And because of that, you had to step away. It was taking an emotional or physical toll on you. And you determined that after trying to address it with your employer and they weren't able to do anything, that you had to take that step away. Now, one of the things that's really important when you're doing this, and this can be really hard, is you don't want to throw your employer under the bus, right? So that's the balancing act. When you're talking about taking a leave of absence, you need to tell a compelling story, right? I was working 70, 75 hours a week. I was working on, 7 days a week. I wasn't getting any time to spend with my family. I talked to my employer, but there was just no solutions available at the time. That is compelling. So you need to paint a compelling picture, but you also need to not throw them under the bus. Because if you say, I tried talking to my employer, but they just didn't care. They just threw more stuff on my plate. My boss didn't care at all that I was suffering, and it was just part of the culture that it was really toxic. That sounds negative. You need to find the balance in there between telling a compelling story and not coming off as overly negative. There was a situation that clearly to anybody sounds untenable. You tried to address it with your employer, they weren't able to do it, and you made the logical decision that for your own well-being or for your family, you had to take a step away. That right there is a great way to address it. Now, what are they concerned about? Anybody who is asking you, hey Ben, can you tell me about this gap in your resume? They're concerned about two things. They're concerned that maybe you just flippantly left, right? You put your employer in a bad spot and you did it without much thought or consideration or without much reason. So by painting a compelling story, you kind of satisfy that first bit. You let them know, yeah, that sounds really rough. I understand why Ben would have left, right? So you're satisfying that first thing. Now, the second thing is they're afraid you might do it again. Employers, when they're hiring, a lot of it comes down to risk mitigation. They want to make sure that they're making good decisions and they're solving a current problem without signing up for a future problem that you're going to leave again. So whenever you're discussing burnout, you have to explain the why, but then you also have to leave them with a sense of confidence that you won't just do this again. So how do you do that? Well, the way you do that is you say things and you use language like, you know what, I've taken that time away, I've solved that issue for myself, and I am excited to get back to work. Or I'm really ready to get back to work and get my career back on track. You can also talk about during that time, you found a way to set up boundaries for yourself so you can proceed in a healthy manner. Maybe you can talk about the learning or the continuing education or the development you did in that interim. Those are ways that you make employers feel good about the fact that, okay, this happened once, but it wouldn't happen again. The last thing, if it was me, I would definitely reference somewhere in there like, this was something that I personally never expected to happen. In my career, I couldn't imagine taking this leave of absence. I'm a really motivated person. I actually enjoy what I do. So this for me was something that kind of came out of left field. I am ready to get back and get my career back on track. And I'm excited about the opportunity to get back to work. Just saying it like that sounds so much better than just being like, I don't know when I left and yeah, I don't know, it was tough. Hopefully I don't find myself in that situation again, right? Like that doesn't provide confidence to the person interviewing you. But if you frame it like I did first, about how this wasn't something you were expecting, and this was, certainly surprised to you that you felt this was necessary, but you were excited to get back to work, you've missed it, and you've been doing things in the interim to continue to improve your skills and develop. I think that is a great way to address taking a leave of absence because of burnout. Now, if you can do those things, you're completely going to address the two main concerns they have, that leaving was warranted and it's not going to happen again. So if you can do those things, I think you'll be able to address it quite well in your interview, and you will take that concern off of the table for the interviewer, which is exactly what you want to do. Thank you for watching. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and hit that like button. I drop 3 videos every single week that are all designed to help you navigate the difficult and challenging world that is interviewing. Good luck in your next interview. You got this.